So there's probably a bit before that then. So if doctors didn't actually carry out that procedure, the person would pass over. Then they would come back again. But we developed, so we have evolution has allowed us to actually transplant organs, and as you said, for the organ to live longer, for the person to live longer.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes,
Wow.
marvellous, isn't it? We're very, very interested in all that sort of thing, you know, because there's a lot of medical people here.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of people on the earth. Well, there are people on the earth that disagree with it. There are people on the earth that are for it, and obviously a lot of people don't understand it. But it's interesting you said that.
It's very fascinating there, really, because it shows that there's far more to everything than one realises.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
really what it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, definitely. So carry on with that. Number 7. Do organs retain memory after being transplanted to a different person, and if so, would the person experience traits or feelings of the donor?
Yeah, well, that's, you hear this, don't you?
Yeah.
Someone's just giving you a jam donut.
Thank you.
It's your mum. I know your mum's here, but mum's giving you a jam donut because you know the thoughts travel and they're here, there, and everywhere. So let's say that. Question, wasn't it? Oh yes. So whatever it was that became your own position when you entered the womb with that function that the organ presented, it therefore then connects with the person and it deals with it on a different level, of course, as we've said, but there are things at times, I suppose, that can be presented through that organ because there's been a link there that has been a little bit more extrovert than maybe it was before. So there are things that can, it's like track and trace, isn't it?
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
So in a sense, it can be shown that some things can come forward through that organ from the person who gave the organ,
right.
in the sense of it being a part of a
Could it change their personality? I suppose that's
It's like a setup. I'm trying to think of the right word without getting technical, because I could get very technical. Got an itch. It's funny, isn't it? Need a back scratcher. So, yeah, because that baby shows that. Yeah, never mind. I can't go on about that one for a moment, I'm afraid.
all right.
It's almost as if there's a part of that is not quite processed. We'll come back to it if that's all right.
Yeah. 8. What causes hormone imbalance in adults?
Well, the hormones are there for the instruction of the whole body to work properly with each other.
Right.
So when you have an imbalance, it's just a product that's perhaps produced its own earth energies from what you were before, that's come in to engage in a different process. So it's making you release things around you that perhaps you wouldn't have done if you didn't have the imbalance.
Okay.
And that's what that's all about, believe it or not. It's not what one thinks,
Oh,
really.
that's interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're all made up of all this wonderful etheric energy.
Okay.
I like the track and trace bit. Can I go back to that?
Yes.
The track and trace, what we were saying about that with the organ and feeling certain things from another person, wasn't it? Well, there is that part there that does make it find its own position at a time when it releases into the earth something that was needed to regress with. Then it suddenly practices a different position and it lets go of it. So therefore that part can come back, because you all come back to have a look sometimes to release things.
What, from
yes,
another dimension?
from the atmosphere.
Right.
Oh yes, you come back there sometimes to look, don't you? Look at when you have these people come to you in this, we call these sittings or readings. People come from link from loved ones perhaps come through, and it's almost as though they're releasing a lot of their earthly links as they produce the energies back to the earth, as they enter the medium's psyche, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, psychic, yeah. Okay.
So it's all. Have I answered that question now this time then? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Mushy peas. Mushy peas?
Mushy peas. Question 9. A lot of people like gravy.
Gravy?
Chips and gravy. No, that's up north.
Oh, yeah, that's right, they do, don't they? Pie and chips.
Yeah. Right, number 9. When someone is suffering from anxiety and panic attacks, how can they work out what is causing the issue and how can they be prevented? There's a lot of anxiety at the moment around the world, yeah.
Yes, and this anxiety is showing everybody that there is indeed something that does make them feel this anxiety. So what it is, as the anxiety proves itself to be what it is, it demonstrates a different position of themselves because they're not used to having it perhaps. And they show themselves then that maybe, well, I could perhaps let this go if only I could understand what it is, as you were asking what it is that's causing it. And as we know, as the fear that comes into people's minds is the most destructive position, which forces fear into fear.
Right.
So that's really what it is. It's fear.
It's fear.
It's fear.
And probably the other question about that is, I mean, how do you know it's your anxiety, not someone else's, or mass consciousness?
That's a good question as well, ain't it? Well, there's a children white cat in the garden. It's like
Cosmo.
Is it? It's almost as though that fear that could be related to something maybe you realise has happened recently, or something that's caused you to fear, but there were things that perhaps have not got anything to do with you that have brought that fear around you because you've allowed it to come into your system.
Right, yeah.
And that, therefore, is what it is. It often makes people worry about things because they're not letting go of an energy that is there to be used as a blessing rather than a fear.
Yeah.
If you turn it around and look at it in a different way, well then you... Then you're not going to have that fear there, are you? Yeah. It's all fear. Everything's fear that causes this.
So you're feeling the fear around you, which is not particularly specifically yours, but it's a mass conscious fear or someone specific that are thinking of you, and you're picking up on that and then getting the anxiety or the effect of that energy.
It's like your energies are free to do what they wish to.
Right.
Because your freedom in all senses of the word.
Yeah.
Your love, your energies on earth, your loyalty to yourself, it's all free to do what it wants. So in a sense, what you do, you allow that energy to come on board because you're not dealing with it in the right aspect. So you're looking at it in a different way. Maybe you're feeling something that's really not there even. Maybe you're just looking at it in a way you're thinking, I know Linda does this a lot, and her grandson said it to her. She can sometimes feel something is there because she's worrying about it herself.
Yeah.
Then it manifests into it, but it's not there, and that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So, like an illness, you can manifest your own illness even if you've never had it.
Absolutely right. You can be an illness, and you can link with an illness, and then find it's who you are, but it's not who you are. But you allow it to take on board the fear. It's all about fear.
Yeah, so...
At the end of the day, with anything, lovey. You know?
And that's a big thing we're learning at the moment, isn't it? Fear and how to let it go.
Well, you are learning, I think, through this pandemic malarkey, you are beginning to see that maybe that's not just what it is that you're looking at, that you're seeing things in a different way, because maybe you were that anyway, but you're just waking up. But people are thinking they're changing, well, they're not, they're waking up.
Right, okay.
Because that manifestation of love and all that you are, or that is, and was, is there to show now. And
right.
It's giving you all that at face value. It's giving you more of an, it's giving you a kick up the backside to see that you are really what this is. You're not what you think you are. You haven't got to look at all this and think it's all as it is, because it's not anyway. It's far less accurate than it was about 9 weeks ago.
Right. Okay.
It's like it's built up into a frenzy.
Yeah.
Making people worry.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, thanks.
I like cuddles sometimes because I didn't get them when I was young.
Oh, did you?
No, because I was on my own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think this pandemic has had that issue as well, where people want to have the cuddles or support, and haven't been able to do it.
So what is that all about? You see, they're
love,
showing that they are
support,
needing or wanting to. So what part of them is actually taken over there to make them feel that way?
What, not loved?
To feel, no, that they need to have that love. I've got to cuddle someone, I haven't cuddled anybody.
Okay.
It's almost as if it's showing everybody that, or themselves, that they are adjusting accordingly, because that's what they're about anyway, the love. So what's happening is bringing love out more. It's bringing who you are out into the open.
Okay.
And it's, consider yourself
lucky.
In love, come together with the opportunity. It's now and where I wear my glove to see if we can be with everybody now. As I wake up in this sentence of the service, I am giving to all. I give myself a pat on the back at times to say, well, we can always go and have a ball. Whoa.
Yeah, I think that the pat on the back is what people should do. Pat themselves on the back for facing up to their fears. And going through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what
So it's a very good time of opportunity in many ways. Yes.
Good, thank you. Number 10. What is your view on extending life through drugs or chemotherapy? I mean, they're just specific ones, but it could be anything. I mean,
it's like someone who's absent-minded. You want to forget about it. You see these things and you want to face up to the truth, to see that that is what is happening, and the bodily functions need to be encouraged to regress or repeat or whatever. But with these things that people have to have, obviously these drugs and things they feel is going to help their earthly link and help them to survive, which, oh yes, it does happen. Of course it does. But it's not really about that at all. It has nothing to do with it, actually, at all. And if I said what I said, I'd probably get locked up. So, but they can't lock me up, can they, lovely? But she might now.
Yeah.
I can't talk about it because it would be treading on toes. But I would just say that.
But isn't that a good thing?
Yes, but at this stage, I think we better just,
okay.
a little bit sort of. I'll go as far as saying that, truth be told, it doesn't do a darn thing.
Thank you. I think that's what people want to hear.
I've got to. Okay.
Part of changing.
It doesn't do it. It's just like a placebo.
Yeah, that was the yeah.
I'm afraid. because the body's such a strong element, you see.
Yeah.
People don't realise what it's made up of. We've got to talk about that another time.
Well, I think we've been asking
all the tissues and the muscles and all that.
We've been asking a lot of things about illness, and then on gone to healing. So we'll see what comes of that. Number 11. They say muscular dystrophy is the weakening of muscles in the body, leading to increased disability and then their demise. What is the cause of this, and what is the cure?
Well, when you think about a muscle, how it has to wrap itself around things. It's a very delicate process, and it comes to the body function because it needs to be there. It's been there for many centuries, but when that happens with an illness like that, suddenly things break down and they suddenly start to work overtime, and then they build up different fractions of energies that come in. So therefore, what is the cause? It's because there are things in the lack of minerals is one, right, from other elements in other ways. There's a lack of minerals there that often does appear when you have this illness.
Yeah.
I'm told. And so the muscles need to be replenished, but they're not, and they suddenly start to break down. So you can, if you like, look at it as being just an instruction of the muscles elevating in a different way, needing to be washed away. And
is that like
a death, like a death in the sense of the word of it being processed in a different way. It's clearing away, it's moving things out, and it's like the body's rejecting it.
Mm-hmm.
In that way, it's rejecting it, so it's having to just not work proper. So therefore, what one needs is just that encouragement from others to have the manipulation on it, really, in a sense, to go to the hot baths, to go to places where maybe they can receive a lot of comfort from maybe movement on that part of the area.
Yeah. Not
to go mad, but to allow that to stimulate again that process that's going on there, because it's like dead tissue. It's just what's going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no cure as such. What I'd say is the cure to be a cure is something that one needs to come into life. You see, if someone has this process here, let's say that we had this process of this muscular dystrophy, did you see that?
Yes.
Let's say that this is a part of you that now is encouraging you to work in a different way as you enter your process in life. Maybe it's showing you that element that works there is building up. So when it does start to break down, it's becoming less active on other levels. So you're having to deal with lots of things going on there. But this is what happens very often when things have to cease working.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it is, what happens with this illness. They cease to work, so therefore they have to awaken on a different level. So one has to infiltrate that energy and bring it into a different space with itself so that it can vibrate higher. So therefore that element that comes about through that muscle then has to function itself on a different level. Because there's things there that work, you see, through the muscles and often are not processed in the same way as like bones and other organs and things. It's a different thing altogether, you see.
Right.
It's, so in a sense, what one can cure oneself with is just the knowledge of how it works and why it happens.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you can only just do what you can.
Okay, all right. Another question, 12. Diabetes is a lifelong condition that causes a person's blood sugar level to become too high or too low. How can we help people with this condition?
Well, that's something, isn't it, that people have got many, I think, many aspects of what you call diabetes. It's, in a sense, it's a process of a function that's going wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, what is making the function go wrong? Well, it can be your diet, your health, yes, and it can be other things that come in, because there are things that often do attract a lot of this nervous energy, I say, which is a lot to do with why people have diabetes.
All right.
It's like a nervous energy that provides itself with the nourishment to lack the function it needs to work properly, and that's what often occurs. So it can be done in that way, with people to allow themselves to free certain things from their energy levels by being maybe a little bit more at ease with themselves,
Right.
because that heightens this nervous position.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that, it will be a great thing, because often it's presented with a lot of people that often are very, I think, nervous.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it,
Right.
that do come into the world with that nervous element there,
Yeah.
which often is a state of sadness in a way. That can, you see, that is another thing. It can bring that into it when you are
Yeah.
going through life in a way where you're unhappy. That can also bring it into the fore as well, you know,
Yeah.
where people are very sad.
Yeah.
But therefore, you've also got to look at the other side of it, with the physical instruction of having to keep yourself reasonably active and healthy, and having foods that are good for your
Yeah.
the diet, that you eat things that that processed food, things that are healthy, things that are going to give you nutrition and build you up. You know, there's so many things that can go wrong with this.
Yeah.
So many things within a diabetic state that you can say that's what it is that's caused that, but there's other things too, obviously, that resemble this also. That come
Yeah, I
into
mean, you picked up on processed foods, which doesn't help the fact, does it?
processed food, you've got
sugars.
all this, all these things they put in food now.
Mm.
Doesn't do the digestive tract any good,
No.
let alone the heart.
Right.
So, but if you have things in moderation, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But you know, oh yes, well, it's quite right though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I think all these
Oh, yes.
fizzy drinks have a lot of sugar in them, and they
Oh
a
dear.
lot of children obesity. They say it's
Those things are dreadful.
Mm.
They cause a lot of
especially
acidity
yeah, right.
throughout the body. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's why, I mean, the sweeteners, the artificial sweeteners, that I just can't take them. My body rejects it. Just no. You know, like the aspartame, you know, it's just something in it that just I don't like at all. But it's in a lot of food.
It's fun because your body's a natural process,
Yeah.
and it needs these needs natural things within it. But don't forget, your Earth Link is about learning about all that anyway.
Yeah.
So you're building up things in the bodily functions to heal a lot of what I'd say is the overseer that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your overseer is, I'd say, is that energy that links with you from a higher level that comes in, brings you into this space to help you to unfold what you need. It also brings into this area of knowledge a lot more that you now need to work with, all of you.
Yeah.
So you're bringing a lot more freedom into your lives, but you also need to be very aware of this within yourselves, that you are now connecting to other things in your lives that are awakening you and allowing you to be who you are and to present yourself to others as you are, so it rubs off type thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You
It
know,
does, yeah. It's broken the words, I think.
Can't go to the beer garden today. Too blowy, ain't it?
It is a little bit, yeah. Right, next question. There was something, but I'll come back to it. When clients realise their buried feelings and traumas hold them back, and we say to them, you can let them go, can you explain in simple terms how that process works? Do you want to read again, or?
How they... You are funny. It's funny, though. How they need to let them go, yeah. How they need to let go the anxiety and stuff.
Well, yeah, well, when we see clients and you do energy work on them and then you say, you can now let that go, they go, well, how do I do that?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, well, exactly how do they do it?
Yeah.
Well, they do it in the sense of you're saying that to them, let them go, then they will ask you, well, how do I do that? Because in a way, it happens just as it's needed to in that moment. You've already done it. By what you've done.
Right.
So, when you say that, you're instructing yourself to feel you need to say that because you think that's what you should say. But at the end of the day, it's just a question of you've done it already in that moment. So, it's like to them, I can feel that and they feel so good. And you then just leave it. So you just need them to go and be who they are and link with what they are. No, yes dear, because you see what it is also. As you do your wonderful work, as you exercise the thought process, and you're giving to that energy level more than you ever have done because you're working on a very high level at this time. I'm sure you know this, my dear, but you're also engaging in a process that's opening up that person's mind in the sense that it's making them more alert to who they are. So when you do what you do, you're altering that, linking with it, making it possible, and then it's done.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. Simple as that, my dear.
All right. Okay.
Anybody, yes, so it's good.
Good, yeah, thank you. 14. We have carried out hands-on healing for many years. So we're now going to the healing side of it, what we...
Oh, I like that as well. I like it all.
We've carried out healing, hands-on healing for many years. How is the way we carry out healing going to change in the future?
Well, you're already healing what you're healing, because you're being who you are, and everything you do is a vibrational level that circulates around. It then demonstrates its own ownership by being what it is, and it gathers up its freedom of speech every time you work. So as you work, you're being what you are, and you're allowing that person to be what they are. So therefore, it's all going to be really in a heightened state of ecstasy, because you're all joining yourselves in a different position now within that energy level you work with. So you will be all vibrating on higher levels, going forward into a system that will be more of an etheric energy link than the process that you've been using over the centuries, as one feels they need to be grounded, like you're using an energy from somewhere else, but you're not. You can't use an energy from anywhere because it's just where it is. It's at that moment. So therefore, be in the moment, with the moment, exercise the moment, because that's what it is. So everything then is as light as possible, and the vibration continues and continues. So you're working always, you're working to exercise the perfection of what